Hello guys, welcome back to AS Learning. So guys, in this video we will see the interview experience with Synechron company. The experience required for this position was between 4 to 8 years and the salary offered was in the range of 15 to 20 LPA. And the question was based on Java, Java 8, then Core Java questions, then Spring Boot, Microservice, Hibernate and SQL. So let's start. First question was very simple, that name whatever the new features were introduced in Java 8, so you can name it as optional, then stream API, then method reference, functional interface, lambda expression, and you can give one liner about each of these features. Next question was what is the use of Java 8 stream, why it was introduced. So you can say it as a it can be used for the better performance, so that whenever we have a huge data set or huge data set in list, for example, so it can be performed in parallel manner using parallel streams, and it can take the advantage of number of cores which are there in your system, and it will help always if you compare with the for loop, traditional for loop, and if you compare stream with it, then always the future performance of stream will be always better. So there are a number of features for which we use the Java streams. So next question was, what is solid principle, or what are solid principle? So solid principles are used to maintain your coding standard in your code base. So they typically stands for as for single responsibility principle, in which the class which you are creating or should only contain single responsibility, not more than one. O stands for that class is always open for extension, that is in inheritance, but not for modification, that is closed for modification. Next, L for in solid stands for Lisco substitution principle, in which the objects in program should only be replaced by instance of their subtypes. Okay, and I stands for interface segregation, in which you can depend on the interface for multiple functionalities, and you can segregate them into multiple functionality as per the need. And D stands for dependency inversion. So as an example, you can take of Spring Boot, you can have a dependency inversion control, inversion of control feature in your code base also. Next question is, what is reflection API? So reflection API is a API for analyzing and modifying all the classes, objects, things at the runtime. And the biggest advantage of reflection API is that it can provide a way to manipulate private members of that class too. And there are some predefined methods like get declare method and get classes, and some more methods are there, so you can just go through it once. Next question is, what is volatile keyword in Java? So volatile is basically in the concept of multi-threading, that is to make the thread safe environment. And with the help of volatile keyword, so JVM will come to know that all the private copies of each and every thread must be merged with main memory, and all the transaction with the help of volatile, all the transaction within two threads are done from main memory itself, so that it can help in caching also. Next question is, what is object level and class level lock? So class level lock will basically if you have synchronized environment, and if you want only one thread should enter that synchronized block and or particular piece of code, then you can declare that block as a synchronized, and it will term as a class level lock. And in the object level lock, it can be used whenever you want that your non-static method which are present in a class should be accessed by only one thread. So this was the major difference between class level lock and object level lock. Next question is, what is default value of array list? So it can be termed as 10, but it's not sure, because whenever we have a 50% of array list occupied, then it gradually increases the array list size. But by default, as per the documents, it is suggested that its default size is 10. Next question was also based on ARRAYLIST, that what will happen if we declare the size of ARRAYLIST as 10 initially and then forcefully insert 11th element. So it will not create any issue, because once we insert the 5th element, it will just check whether the size is occupied or not as a 50%, and whenever it will insert 6th element, at that time it will check that of size as of ARRAYLIST cross the threshold limit of 50%, then at that time it will just increase the ARRAYLIST size. So that's how it gradually increases, and we can store data as gradually as we can. Next question was, what are actuators in Spring Boot? So actuators in Spring Boot are basically used for to check the health and metrics, and then what are the memory consumption done by your application in the prod environment. So it will help us to monitor and analyze if there is any issue, or if any out of memory or something issues is happening in your prod environment or not. So there are multiple methods in which, or multiple configuration in which you can use in your actuator in your Spring Boot applications. Next question was based on Hibernate, that is, what is dirty checking in Hibernate. So dirty checking is basically a features which is there in Hibernate, and it calls the update statement once any objects change or modified. So the update statement is automatically get called. Next question was based on microservice, that is, what is fallback method in microservice. So fallback is basically a like solution or alternate solution in the scenario where you have a microservice architecture, any random microservice is getting down, or service is getting down. So at that moment of time you can just redirect that page or user to some meaningful UI, and then you can write that logic into fallback method, and you can use a circuit breaker, that is Hystrix, for to achieve this. Next question was based on SQL, that is, what is difference between truncate and delete, and this is one of the most asked question based on SQL. So truncate removes all the rows from a table, and you cannot write a where condition with truncate, but you can do this where condition thing with the help of delete. So you can delete partial data using delete, and you can remove full data or complete data using truncate. And as the truncate typically removes all the rows from table at a same amount of time, then it is faster compared to delete. And truncate, you cannot roll back any transaction once you execute truncate command, but you can roll back in the case of delete. And next 3 questions from now are based on like completely your project base, and these questions are: which CICD pipeline you have used? Second, any experience in JMS or IBM MQ? And third one is any experience in Kubernetes or Docker. So if you have these tools integrated in a project, or you have experience, then you can just describe about him. So these were all the questions which were asked in Synechron interview. I hope you will enjoy, and if any doubt or any suggestions, you can just mention in that comment section. So that's it from this video. Thank you and have a great day.